Hello, my name is Ashley Sellers. I am a speech language pathologist and I'm the owner and operator of Speech Language and Beyond. I'm coming to you today with another video about a speech therapy product that I developed that specifically targets the articulation of the F and V sound. And let me say before I get into the details of what the product is used for, what it looks like and how you can use it appropriately, that the way that this board has been set up, that if you have your own set of articulation cards that you've created yourself or any that you may have purchased from Super Duper or Linguist Systems or any other speech therapy companies that are out there, they can easily be adapted and substitute for the cards that I have to be able to use with this board. So you should be able to get continual use out of it. And just so that this doesn't end up being a very long video, I kind of wrote out what my description is for this. It's for ages 7 and up because these cards were designed where they don't have picture cues attached to them. It's basically the word in initial, medial, final position at the word, phrase, and sentence level. So it does require for the children to be able to read independently to some extent. So I do advise it for children that are ages 7 and up. The cards themselves that are attached with this, but you can easily take the game board itself and move my cards out of the way and substitute in your own that may have picture cues. But the cards specifically are for children that are about 7 years and up because it does require some form of independent reading. And this is an articulation activity that contains a spinner game board. Okay, so let me kind of show you what that looks like. Okay, so this is basically, we'll move these cards out of the way for right now. But this is basically what it looks like. So as you can see, it's a spinner game board. Okay. Straight. It's a spinner game board, so we'll put it down like this. So basically, as you can see, to create this, I have the brass fastener that is here in the middle and an arrow that I created that had to be cut out, and I had to kind of hole punch it in the middle for it to fit. And as you can see, the spinner does not need to be cut off because it's going to be used as a game board. So here at the top, you see that it has numbers listed 1 through 4, and each section is divided up according to word, sentence, phrase, and then your choice. And if it's your choice, they get to choose which level they want to be able to do. And then you will see here at the bottom, there is a placement for each level that we are targeting. So this is the area where you will put your cards. And let me say, when I went back and I kind of printed this out because I always try to see what it looks like ahead of time, what I did do was, instead of having the words there, if you can see, it has word and phrase and sentence. So instead of having it there, I pulled it up on the board that will be on my website, and I put those words at the top. So that way, once you put the cards there, you can still see what word level it is, because it's going to be hard to see once you cover it up. So I did go back and I changed that. So basically, for my words, they're all here. Okay, and my phrases are here, and my sentences are here. Okay, so basically that's how the board would pretty much look like once you started working on it. Okay, and then basically, and if you have something that can spin a little bit faster with this, you don't get the total spin like I would like you to get with the fastener. So if there's something else that you know of that you can substitute there, then you feel free, because this will be something that you will create yourself. I've just provided the document where you can print it out, cut it, laminate it, and do it how you need to. So basically, they will do their little spinning, and it's not perfect right now because I don't want to mess it up. So they will spin. And then once they spin, depending on what they land on, then they will go ahead and they will grab the card that goes with it. And another thing that's attached to it, because this is the main game board, here you see what we call, let me put this over to the side. This is called the Spin and Say Artic Tally Sheet. So the way that the game works, once they spin, and let's just say that they land on sentence, okay? And we know with sentence, you get 2 points. So they will get the sentence. They would read it. The fan is blowing way too much air. Fan is the word that we're targeting at the sentence level in initial position. And if they said that right, they would come here to their board and they would circle that 2. And they would do that so many times depending on what they landed on. They only get the points if they were able to say it correctly. And so depending on, let's say you're working with 2 to 4 kids, it can be a game that at the end, whoever has the most set of points, they win. And if you need to give out more than one tally sheet because of the limited number of numbers that are on here, that's fine as well. I have my laminated just for purposes of how it looks, but you may want to go ahead and have it laminated so that if you want to get continual use rather than always printing it out, maybe printing out maybe about 8 of them so that if each kid needs 2 cards a piece, tally sheets a piece, and they have it. But whoever has the most amount of points, and they end up winning the game. So that's pretty much how it works. So let me give you, and I felt like because I know that this particular activity itself is covering the F and the V sound, that I will go ahead and give you some techniques on how to be able to teach this sound. This product can be used by speech therapists, graduate clinicians. It can also be used by parents. If you kind of follow the techniques that are given within this video, it's very important that if you're going to do this as a parent and you know your child is having difficulty producing these sounds, then in order to correct them, you want to know the right things to tell them in order for you to provide the accurate correction for them to be able to do it the right way. Okay, so let me one more time just show you the game board before I kind of get into the techniques. This is what it looks like. All right, so it's a spinner game board. You do not have to cut the spinner out, and there's placements for the cards here, and you have directions. And like I told you, the sounds that are covered are F and V in initial, medial, final position at the word, phrase, and sentence level. And then you have the Spin and Say Artic Tally Sheet. So as each student takes a turn, depending on what level they choose and what sound or position of the sound that they are working on, then if they get it correct, they circle their number of points and keep up with it. And whoever has the most points at the end, they will win the game. Okay? So basically, you want to make sure before you use this particular activity that your child is past the isolation and syllable level for working on the F sound. Okay, so for any parent or new graduate clinician that's out there who needs pointers on how to teach the F sound and how to provide the appropriate type of correction for articulatory placement, I would recommend you going to my website and downloading for free my mouth menu. And I have discussed this in another video. And basically what this does is it is a menu that kids can use so that when you're reviewing a sound, they know exactly what part of our mouth we're using to make a sound. So what you see here is a picture of all the articulators that we use to make a sound. So on the first one here, you see mouth. You see nose, because we do use our nose to make particular sounds. We see tongue right here. Let me straighten it up so you can see it better. Okay, let's see. And okay, I think we said you would see tongue. And then we have jaw. And then we have teeth. All right. And then where this one says mouth, it can be lips, but sometimes I will interchange this sometimes when I want to emphasize that a sound is voiced. And if you notice right here at the top, there's another Velcro button here because that's where you're going to put the sound. Okay. And before I move on to tell you how we would use this, what you will notice also that we're going to use later on before we get to the word level is my syllable chart. And it has the vowel sounds listed in the middle, and you notice there are two Velcro buttons at the beginning and one at the end. So it depends on whether or not you want to tackle the target sound at the for the target sound in syllables, either at the beginning of the word or at the end of the word. All right, and attached to this are a tile of letters that I've cut up, and mostly all the consonant sounds in the English language. And I cut them up and I put them in my little baggie. And you can also go and download this for free as well from my website. It's a syllable chart. It comes with this, the chart itself, and then a tile of letters that you can cut out, a tile of consonant sounds that you can cut out, and I just put mine in a bag for storage. Alright, so basically, since we're working on F, I've already pulled out the F sound, and I'm going to put that right here at the top. Alright, so they can remember what sound we are trying to target. So then what I do is, I will tell them, watch my mouth. And I want you to watch how I make the F sound. I want you to notice what parts of my mouth are coming together in order for me to make this sound. So I would say, f, 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 f. So I will ask them, what part of my mouth did I use? They would say, in a perfect world, if they don't know, of course, you know, we're going to provide the correction. They would say you use your lips and your teeth. So you're going to put it, and those are the only two articulators that you're going to have there. And if you notice, when I made the F sound, f, 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 my top teeth were on my bottom lip. And that's the same thing that you're going to say to them. My top teeth were on my bottom lip. And you get them to make that sound as many times as you need to. And then they have this as a cue, so that when they forget and they want to substitute this sound with another sound or say it wrong, they have their mouth menu right there in front of them to remind them that we use our lips and our teeth to make this sound. Okay, and another way to emphasize teaching this particular sound at the isolation level, I have my sound isolation sheets that are also on my website. And what it does is it gives you a script, and it's only used to provide, in some forms, auditory bombardment, where first of all you explain to them how the sound is made. Then they watch your mouth and as you say the sound, and then there's an area on that sheet where the F sound is written so many times in isolation, and you point and say the sound while they're looking at you. And then it also has like a sheet that's attached to it that has letter F's all over the page that you give them. Once you get towards the end, they color it and they listen to you say words that have F sound at the beginning, in the middle, and at the end. But they're not required to say anything back, only to listen to how the F sound is made in different words. So the sound isolation sheets, which I don't have a copy of in my hand right now, is something you can go to my website and also find to use in addition to the mouth menu. And basically what I'm doing is giving you tips and strategies on how to provide how to correct your child if they're saying the F sound wrong once you start using the spin and say activity. Because just because they're saying it at the word level or the phrase level or the sentence level, it does not mean they're not going to make a mistake. So if they make a mistake, then these are tools that you can have in place. You may have to, even though they've made it past the isolation stage and the syllable stage, if you see where when they get to the word level they're still having that difficulty, it's okay to take them back to that level and have them say the F sound by itself. That's important so that they can feel how the sound is made, and then go ahead and apply that to words. And then you can bring them back to the game board. So this is just a preliminary thing you can do to teach it right before you get into this, or to already have it out so that if you need to pull it out during the game, then you can. Because it's not about the game. The game is only used as interest to pull them in and as a fun way to get them to say the sound. But you don't want to go through the game while they're making all the wrong productions of the sound without taking them back to the strategies necessary for them to be able to make that sound correctly. Okay, and you would do the same thing for the V sound. All right, and I'm gonna tell you what the only difference is between these two sounds. All right, so we take V and we put V here because that's the next one that we're working on. So I'll make the V sound. V, V, V. You get them to watch your mouth while you make the sound, and you ask them again, what parts of my mouth came together or did I move in order for me to make this sound? And they should still tell you your lips and your teeth. And the only difference is V is a voiced sound. And when I say voice, that means that when you make this sound, you can put your hands right here under your throat and you can feel the vibration. And they should feel the fuzziness coming across their lips as well. Versus if you make the F sound, there's no vibration. So it's a sound that is not voiced. So these two sounds are made. They have the same placement with the top teeth touching the bottom lip. But one is voiced where the other one is not. And V is the voiced sound. Okay. So now, and you would still, if you wanted to, you could still go back and find the sound, find the sound isolation sheets for the V sound. Okay, so once they're through that stage, if you want to go ahead and start targeting the syllables, then you're going to take the syllable charts. And I like to use long vowels to teach my syllables because sometimes it's just really hard to do the, for me, to do the short vowels. It's just easy to remember. So I like to do the long vowels. So you take your F. You're going to put it at the beginning. And the first thing that I always like to do is to make sure that I segment the sound, meaning that I'm going to separate those two sounds before I blend them together. And most of the time I either use my finger and provide that tactile stimulation for them to do that. Or sometimes I may use a marker depending on how mature they are to make sure they go from the sound, the consonant sound to the vowel sound. All right, so I say F, A, and get them to repeat. F, E, F, I, F, O, F, ooh, and that's segmented. I'm breaking it down where I'm not blending the sounds together, but I'm giving them an opportunity to still make F in isolation so that they could hear it and then being able to say the syllable by itself. And once you feel like they've gotten through this stage, then you can go ahead and you can blend it together. Fay, fee, fi, fo, foo. And that's how you would do it blended. And all syllables do is set them up to be able to be ready to use the sound in words. That's all syllables do, is make them ready to start pairing that consonant sound with a vowel sound. And so those are the syllables at the beginning of the word. If I want to start targeting it at the end, then I just will simply move it to the other side. A, F, E, F, I, F, O, F, U, F. And that's me segmenting it before I blend it together. A, F, E, F, I, F, O, F, U, F. And that's how I would do it, blend it together. All right, so this is just another level. Let's just say they have it in isolation and you still want to provide correction. Then you can go back and provide correction at the syllable level and then take them back to the spin and say artic activity and give them another chance to feel it in the word. Okay, this is just ways to provide some forms of intervention or technique so that when you're using this game and they don't get the sound right and you want to make sure that they have a feel for the sound, this is just something else you can do. Or let's just say you planned on using this. I know when I was in the school system, I would do my days like Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays for the same group of kids if they were being seen 2 times a week. So if you know that you plan on going through this activity one day during the week, then you might want to do a preliminary lesson just to review how the F sound or the V sound is made by using the mouth menu, which is this, the sound isolation sheets, which can be found on my website as well, and then the syllable chart. You might want to have a day of doing that before you actually get into the game. It never hurts to go back and review to make sure that they still are able to say the sounds at those levels first before you get into your words, your phrases, and your sentences. And of course, you would take the same thing and do it for the V sound. Okay? So you would take the same thing and do it for the V sound. And basically, these are just some short ways that you can work on F and V. And I hope that I gave you some strategies that you were not familiar with before on how to say these sounds correctly. And one last thing is that for the cards that I have attached to this game, they cover one syllable words in the beginning. And then I try to get in some 2-syllable initial words. Most likely when it's in the medial position, you're already going to get some 2-syllable words. Then we do phrases, and then we do sentences, and it's for F and V. So if you have any questions or concern, please give me you can email me. My email address is listed in the description box below. If you want to download this activity, either get the sample or to buy it entirely, go to my website at www.speechlanguageandbeyond.com. click on the speech therapy sheets tab, scroll all the way down till you get to the articulation section, and you're going to look for the activity that is titled Spin and Say Artic. And you can either download the free sample or you can purchase it by putting it in your shopping cart. I will not mail these to you. This is a document that you will have to put together. I will email it to you once payment is received and I have been notified. I will email this to you. It will have an open password, and what it requires to make this activity, of course, I use cardstock paper, laminating paper, a brass fastener for the spinner, and of course color ink, a printer, and a laminator. That's all you would need to be able to create this activity. And like I said before, I am not particularly fond of this brass fastener because it doesn't make it move the way that I want to. So if you have something else that you can use that makes it spin a lot faster, that would be great as well. Okay, and as a matter of fact, well, yeah, that would be great as well. So hopefully this is something that you can get a lot of use out of and something that you will enjoy. And let me also say, if you want this mouth menu that can be downloaded for free, and if you want this syllable charts along with the tile of consonant sounds that you can cut out and put in a bag, if you want those, you can also go to my website, www.speechlanguageandbeyond.com. click on the speech therapy sheets tab, scroll all the way down to the section for articulation, look for the title, mouth menu, and syllable chart, and it should have next to it download for free, and you should be able to have a copy of these and have continual use out of them. And of course, to do these as well, I printed it on cardstock paper, I have my laminating paper, and I also have my Velcro buttons, and of course you need a printer and a laminator. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope this was helpful for you. Thank you.